At the time, what was important is the performance of the whole product. Now consumers are super savvy and they know a lot about the molecules, the active ingredients.
They want transparency, they want something relevant between what is on the, let's say, outer packaging and what's really in the formulation.
You don't need to make big investments or spend a lot of money in the formulas to be disruptive.
Because they use hydrosoluble colorants, so the colorant only reveals itself when it's in contact with water. So as you have water in your skin or your lips, it will reveal itself because it will color the water inside your skin.
The Glow Sisters will provide glow to your formula.
Yes.
Wow, I love that. It's a new slogan to your name.
Welcome to Provitalks 2.0, a new season of Provitalks where the complete value chain process of a natural ingredient will be unraveled through Provital's expertise. Get ready for a journey where innovation and authenticity intertwine to inspire you.
Hello, and welcome again to Provitalks 2.0. In previous episodes, we talked about the importance of innovation, science, sustainability, and sourcing projects for the creation of natural ingredients. So we kind of unveiled the keys for the creation of these natural ingredients from its roots. Today, we move a step forward in the journey of value creation in cosmetics, and we're gonna see how all that is implemented for the creation of final products, okay? For the products that we end up using. So we will learn about the importance of active ingredients in final cosmetics.
Very interesting, Clara, because I think it's a way to show how all of our hard work and love that we put behind the development of our cosmetic ingredients end up finally in a product where the final customer can get hands on it, right? So luckily for our listeners today, we have with us two experts on the field. We have Anna Balaguer, our global beauty trends from Provital, and Laure Dupin, the applications lab manager as well from Provital. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. Doing great.
It's great to have you here together because I think you both represent like the two parts of the final product market, right? The more trendy side and the more technical side. So before getting into that, let's get to know you, right? Why don't you introduce yourselves, talk about your backgrounds, how did you get here, and more like especially, what do you do now?
Of course.
Shall I start?
Yeah, of course. Please go ahead, Anna.
Okay, I have a degree in chemistry many years ago, and another one in business administration, and I have been in the beauty industry for more than 25 years. I will not confess the exact years. And in different positions of the value chain, so it gives me really a very wide perspective of what it takes to launch a product to the market. So I've been, like I say, I've been in the other side. I've been a customer of Provital, so I know that perfectly well. How it's about launching a product from the creation of the idea, the formulas, the packaging, the communication, the marketing. And it gives me this wider perspective, so I know more or less what our customers want.
Of course.
Interesting, yes.
Yeah.
And what about you, Laure?
And from my side, I would say that how did I get there? I think it started studying everything when I was like 15 years old. This is when I understood really that you needed to have a science background to be able to literally create this product. And it was a good thing because more or less at the age of 13 or 14, this is also when you start to have chemistry classes in middle school.
In high school, yeah. Well,
and I was like completely hypnotized by the way our teacher was explaining things, really like interactive. And so for me, it was like a perfect match. I knew at this moment that I wanted to work in the cosmetic industry and to do some chemistry. And so I would say that later on, my path has been really like straightforward. So I have a license in chemistry, and I also have a master's degree in cosmetic chemistry. And then after I started my career working in a finished product company. And then later on, I moved to the raw material supplier side. And I think that having this double perspective helped me to understand really the challenge that our customer face because I understand their timeline. because I've been on the other side, but also I understand how challenging it would be to really like develop a raw material from the start to the end and be also innovative. So I think it's really helped me to understand the whole perspective. And I would say that now my role at Provital is to help our customer by inspiring them with like creating new texture, could be also helping them with solving some issues they might have in formulations, and also, yes, explaining, giving some formulation tips, let's say.
So really like how to insert the active ingredients in a product to be innovative.
Exactly.
And I forgot to explain what I'm doing right now.
Yes, I was going to ask you that, but I was like, okay.
I went very far away on time, but right now I'm like the trend hunter in Provital. So I literally travel the world and see what's trendy and then let our customers, our distributors, and internally know which are the products that are really setting trends, which are disruptive, to inspire our clients in their launchings, because really the beauty industry is crowded. It's difficult to stand out from this crowd, and they really appreciate to have these ideas from the other side of the world.
Because I think it's quite impossible to know everything that is happening right now in the world.
Of course.
All the different trends, especially for our customers, that they already have to work on a day-to-day basis. So I think that this help that you provide is really, really well perceived from their side, for sure.
Exactly. The point is that people don't have the time to invest in something that is really relevant for them. So we from Provital, we provide them this super valuable information, and this is something that they really appreciate.
And I think that you two, you have like a kind of artistic name together, right? Can we discover more about this? Because you've been traveling together for quite a few times now to visit different distributors, conferences, and so how this duo works together?
What is the name? We can say it, right?
Of course, you can unveil it.
Okay, so we called ourselves the Glow Sisters.
The Glow Sisters.
The Glow Sisters.
It was kind of a joke because Anna always mentioned the glow as a big trend. So I think it started like that, and we ended like calling ourselves the Glow Sisters.
You already mentioned, right, that you have some experience from the side of our customer, the formulation. And how could you explain that this the evolution in these trends and in the market has affected the active ingredient concept? How if you go back and you see the present, how could you explain this evolution?
I can go more back than Laure because I'm older. And I started in a competitor of Provital, so I started selling also raw material. And at that time, what was really relevant, as usual, is the performance. I mean, the active ingredient had to perform at that time. But what was not that relevant or that important for our customers was, for example, the sustainability. Nobody cared about sustainability at that time, and the mechanisms, all the science that we now have to develop, to educate, to communicate, it was not that important. There were good products also, but the customers were more focused on results. It gives good results, I'm gonna buy it.
Good enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
And this has really been changing, has been evolving. And you can see it clearly in our latest launchings that have a lot of science behind, because we have a great R&D department and the science that explaining really all the mechanisms behind. This is something that the end consumer is demanding. That's why it's so important, and we can see clearly here the evolution. And then in terms of sustainability, now it's important for many customers to prove that the source of this active ingredient is as much sustainable as possible.
Yes, I totally agree. I actually, even for the performance part, the active ingredients, how they were perceived before, maybe they weren't as important inside the product, right? The product was perceived as a whole, and it was the product what gave the efficacy, and now it's more based on the ingredient that it contains, right?
Absolutely, yeah. At that time, what was important is the performance of the whole product. Now consumers are super savvy and they know a lot about the molecules, the active ingredients, and this is good for us because we are really a scientific biotech company, green at the same time. So this is something that it's good for us as a company, and also for our customers, which are the brands. It helps them a lot to create a storytelling around the product. Not only the benefits, but also all the science, all the technology that we use, and the natural background of the whole thing.
Yeah, a lot of things. And if we join that with the sensoriality, which is in the end what makes the product buy the product that they are trying out or something, how has that evolved, the concept of sensoriality?
Yes, I would say that the sensorial part is really key today. Because if you have a great efficacy, because you have great ingredients, but you don't have a nice texture, the risk is that the final consumer would not apply it consistently. So at the end, he will not have the efficacy that he's looking for, and it probably not buy the product again anymore. So it's really important to have the technology and the ingredients that the final consumer is looking for, because like Anna said, they are really knowledgeable, so they know how now to read an ink list, for example. But it's also important to have the texture that will be a good combination, because they want to have the product to be really nice to apply. At the end, it's a well-being moment. It doesn't have to be a torture. So, this has evolved a lot in the 10 years, let's say last 10 years, because now you have really a natural alternative for different raw materials. So you can have really nice textures. It was maybe not the case 10 years ago. If you wanted to develop a natural product, it was more difficult. But nowadays, you have really a lot of options to develop nice texture, but natural at the same time. You have also a substitute for silicones, for example, or substitute for microplastics, so you can really create a nice product. And also, I think that the regulation also drove a lot this change among the years, because now we have new ISO norm for the natural ingredients. You also have norms for biodegradability, for example. So I think that also it has been driven also the industry in this sense.
Regulation, I think it's a common topic on Provital, because in every episode I think we talk about it. Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
I have an insight on this sensoriality part. I think that it's also like the first impression that a customer gets from the product, because you can read about the efficacy, but you haven't tested yet.
Yes.
But when you apply it, the first thing you check is, do you like it?
Yes, exactly. I think it's really personal, because something I like, you could hate it maybe. True. And I think it's really about the texture, the smell, the way your skin feels afterwards. If you feel like a long-term hydration, for example, or if it stops after 1 hour and you have to reapply it again. And the consumer now, they really look at these details.
Yes. Well, it's really what differs a cosmetic treatment than a pharmaceutical treatment, right? It's like you said, not torture. It's supposed to be a well-being moment.
Exactly.
And that is given by the sensoriality of the product. Yes.
And regarding the customers, that they know a lot and they look for different active ingredients, for instance, what do you think that are the things that they try to look for in a product?
Yes, I would say that when they try to understand the ingredients list, they look a lot at social networks, sometimes for bad and sometimes for good. and here they try to understand what is behind a certain name, no? And if they are pleased with the explanation that could bring these ingredients, they will try to look for it then after in some product. Or sometimes also they understand the quantity kind of order into the list. So they want to be sure that when they are buying a product, they will buy the product because the active ingredient is in a certain quantity as well. So
it's not at the last of the ingredient list.
Yes, I think they are really looking for value for money. They want transparency. They want something relevant between what is on the let's say outer packaging and what's really in the formulation.
And that's why we always suggest to the brands this transparency and to take advantage of their social media to explain to the customers all the science, all the technology, all the results that the consumer will get by using this product. And if you just take a look, mainly it's really, really strong in the case of the American brands. most of the American brands have really complete websites with all the science, all the explanation. Some of them, it's like a science class.
Yeah.
But this is what customers are looking for, the end consumer. And then you have two options, as Laure mentioned. Either they look for this information in TikTok, because the youngers don't Google, they TikTok.
Yeah, that's
really dangerous.
Definitely a new trend. Like everyone uses social media as a search engine. I mean,
and it's dangerous in some cases.
well,
because
the information you can find is you have to understand if it's true or not, because everyone can say their opinion on social media and no one.
That's why we suggest the own brands to use their own social media, their own websites, their own influencers.
Now there's also a very important trend that it's called the UGC, the user-generated content, that brands are using a lot, because it's like, I don't have to pay this influencer that can create this video. My own customer will create the video.
Yeah.
And it will give free publicity for good and for bad,
and
of
for
course.
bad sometimes, yes.
Yeah. But usually in this user-generated content, I don't know if you agree with me, they don't go so in deep in the formula. They just have tried it and they will give their opinion.
Exactly.
You can find a lot of different.
It can be more like a personal opinion on the product. Like
exactly.
I like this and
not that
I
explaining
don't like that.
Yes.
The
Not
product
that
so in deep.
side.
But yes, this is the tool that many brands are using right now, and it's super cheap for them.
Yes.
For free.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think we have to understand the final consumer, because nowadays, like Anna commented, the market is saturated. You have so many brands, so many products for each brand that they have a lot of information and they don't really know where to put their money. They want to be sure that they buy a good product. So it's really difficult for them. And also because behind one ingredient name, you can have different function. For example, if we take the cellulose, you can have a function of a filler, you can have a function, why not, of a thickener, stabilizer.
Exactly.
So they don't really understand what they're buying. And I think that's why they're looking for the information where they can.
And in this saturated market, would you highlight something that is really trendy right now in terms of performance or in terms of texture?
Wow, there are so many things. I would need 3 days to explain you, because we are really lucky that we are in an industry that is constantly innovating because of this fact that you need to stand out from the crowd, from all the competition. Really today, the barriers, if you want to launch a brand, Clara Cosmetics, for example, really the barriers are very, very low. With maybe 5,000 euros, you can start a nice brand. And that's why there are many trends, many products that are trying to innovate, to be disruptive. But lately, if we can talk about something that started like a trend, but now it's a category itself, we could talk about the barrier.
Yes.
Isn't it? This is something that we that are scientists and we know about the concept of the barrier, we know about it forever. But now the customers have realized the importance of the barrier.
It's everywhere.
And it's everywhere. And even in the US, I saw in retailers that they have an area that it's called barrier care.
Wow.
So
it's like you said, it's like a new category, right? Only
exactly.
products.
It has evolved to something that was a trend, but now it's a category. And I think that it's here to stay.
Yeah. And to understand, well, to make people learn and understand how does that work in our laboratory or in our trends department, how does that need come to us? How do you try to solve it? You know, like you understand that now there's a barrier care trend. How do we propose to the clients to act accordingly? How do we, what do we propose to them for to be in that trend, to be innovative in that trend?
Yes.
I would say to use our wonderful Provital actives that have an amazing barrier reinforcing activity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on a formulation standpoint, I would say that you have to associate the concept of barrier with the right texture. Because when you think about barrier, you also think about occlusivity, maybe like protection. So you can think about the kind of texture you could kind of develop. And also we can guide our customer to maybe sometimes make combination of active ingredients with complementary effects, like that, to have a synergy and to even have stronger results for protecting the barrier, for example, in this case.
Is it something that happens usually, this association between efficacy and texture? Or sometimes it's maybe
yes.
it's cool that it's not related, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, It depends. Sometimes you can have some disruptive product, but you also have something in the final consumer which is sometimes associated. For example, if I give you a product with mint extract, and the product is pink, it's going to disturb you in a way, you know? And so it could be also a good marketing point, because you can have a disruptive formulation and so on. But sometimes for some products, for example, if we took a conditioner for hair, it's maybe sometimes it's kind of stupid, but the thicker it will be, the more nutritive you think it was going to be. And it's not like that. But sometimes, in order to reassure the final consumer, you need to associate some concept with texture.
Yes. Yes.
But I can tell you right now that in my latest trends presentation, I have started to talk about a trend of a kind of texture that it's really a little bit painful. So that are called the spicules. There are very, very small micro needles, and it seems I'm going to buy something in Korea for all of us to try, but it seems that it hurts a little bit. And the fact that it hurts a little bit when you apply it, it gives the consumer the feeling that it works.
Yeah.
So we have another way of disrupting, creating this kind of things. And it seems that in Korea is being very successful.
It's like a peeling then, or what's
No. It's a kind of micro needles that enhance the penetration of the active ingredients.
Oh, it's like a delivery system.
Exactly, but they don't deliver the active ingredient themselves, but they create like a tunnel, let's say. And they are
Physical tunnel.
Exactly. They are smaller than the pores so that the product penetrates. So we will see. I will buy something in Korea.
I'm going to
within 2
wait
weeks.
for you to try it first, and then you can tell me if it's good or not.
It's been really successful in Korea. A lot of launchings with the spicules.
Didn't know about
So the disruption, you never know
Yes.
where it will come from.
Yes. We are in a very creative and industry, and I guess it depends on so many factors, right? What the clients ask for. So that's why I wanted to, guide us through all of these maze of the cosmetics industry. Maybe tell us a hint of what you do in your work, right? I see that you have brought some products here, so maybe you could tell us a bit of why, Anna, have you brought these products and not others? And I don't know, maybe.
I had to choose a small amount because otherwise we would have stayed here for months. Because as I mentioned, Laure is always, we talk constantly about all these products. There's so many innovation that I have chosen different ways of innovate on the market. We have started talking about the barrier, and let me show you one product by Peter Thomas Roth that mentions the barrier because it contains our great hydrofans. It's mentioned here, 3% hydrofans, 120 hours of hydration power, but it's also a trendy texture. These watery creams that have become so popular because they are light, really light. They provide this nourishing feeling, all the active ingredients inside, but they are light. Why they have become so popular? First of all, it probably comes from Korea. In this case, I'm not 100% sure because it's been like a boom all over the world. Yeah. But you know that in Korea, they love the layering concept. And then to layer, you need a light texture. Otherwise, you cannot continuously add new layers. And at the same time, with the rising temperatures all over the world because of the climate change, etc., all these kind of textures are very, very popular. And Laure can explain maybe a little bit how can the customers create these light textures?
Yes, so these light textures, they are also called like creamy gel
watery,
cream, watery, different names. But basically, you have to use a really low oil phase because you want to enhance the freshness. You have to have a higher amount of water and a low amount of oil phase, and you have to thicken the formulation. Could be with some polymers, or it could be, if you want a more natural alternative, it could be also with some polysaccharides, for example. Nowadays, we have many different natural thickeners on the market. And modulating also the use level of these thickeners, we can achieve a thicker formulation or more fluid formulation. And also, I think that we see a lot of movement from the other subcategory, because in the cosmetic industry you have subcategory like hair care, skincare, makeup, and we see a lot of movement between the different categories. For example, you can see that textures that were more like hair care texture coming into skincare, or makeup texture coming into skincare, on the other way around. So we see a lot of also fusion.
And and continuing with the innovative textures, this is one of the most successful sunscreen products that have been launched on the market. This is a Korean one, and it's a foam. Foamy textures are also extremely popular, very, very popular. And this is a sunscreen. You see here the SPF 50 and PA 4+. I cannot read it yet. It's 4+. And it's a mousse, you will see, a wonderful texture that reduces the skin temperature 14 degrees. It has a really refreshing activity. And this is something that has become, again, very popular because of the climate change, the high temperatures. And we see many products, but none like this one that reduces the temperature 14 degrees. Very interesting. Best seller in Korea, and I know that many brands are interested in copying the idea.
Of course.
It makes a lot of sense.
It's great.
I don't know how no one has ever thought of that.
It's 14 degrees. It's challenging, but
It's a lot.
you can get it.
It's a lot for people that want to tan, for example, here in the Western culture, right? That you want to tan, but you can't stand the heat.
That happens to me.
Yes, I was thinking of men.
5 minutes, enough.
But if you have ever been in Korea or in Japan or in any Asian country in summertime, humidity is terrible. And these textures, these mousse textures that are so light, that have this refreshing activity, are extremely welcome.
And super easy to apply, right?
Yeah, very, very light and very easy to spread, etc. And in these countries, they protect their skin on a daily basis. It's not like we do, that it's not correct. Only when we go to the beach or to the swimming pool.
Now I think it's becoming more trendy, and that I think that consumers are getting to know the importance of using the sun protection products.
Yeah,
mainly due to social media, what you were saying.
Yeah,
probably.
That's. Yeah, and I think it's a good example also of what we were commenting before when we were saying that the texture is key for the consistency. Here in sun care, it's even more important, because if you have a terrible texture, the risk is that you are not going to apply it at the frequency you should. And you'll be less protected and get a higher risk of sunburns, for example. So I think it's really, in sun care, it's even more important than the other categories to have a nice texture.
Yeah, and it's a category that it's really expanding, launching very interesting products. I have recently created a trends presentation only about sun care, because I have seen so many innovation that I think it's worth it to create a presentation. And we continue with the naturality. If you see something like this, you really have the feeling that it's a natural product.
Yes.
Even though sometimes the inky, it's not that natural, but again, the consumer has the perception that if it has a plant inside, like it's this cleansing oil, wonderful product, by the way, Korean, the product will be super natural. An example of how important social media has become is this, I can't open it because I have my hands full of product. It's a blusher that has become super viral in TikTok.
I've seen those.
And it was sold out everywhere. I mean, I can't remember where I bought it, but I tried to buy it.
I saw that here in Spain it was sold out.
Sold out, and in the US. I don't know how many retailers are visited, and I can't remember where I bought it, but I bought it somewhere, of course, it's here. and it's clearly because of the jelly texture that allows this TikTok, funny videos, etc. I'm not going to use it because it's really, the tint, it's really strong, and it takes a lot to remove it. And clearly, Laure, you can tell as a product, as a formula, it's nothing from the other world, but it's the concept.
No, it's the concept, exactly. It's the kind of gummy texture that you can achieve with some natural thickeners like agarose, for example, or some carrageenan also. And this one is it's a water-based formulation, so thickened by this with natural thickeners. So you get also the freshness, because normally the sticks like that in makeup, they are more like oil-based, so you don't have the freshness. So this one is really like transparent, translucent with the freshness and with the gummy texture. So that's why also it's like
And apart from
attractive.
apart from the texture of the gummy texture and all that, the taint part, how do you achieve that? Because I've seen that in TikTok as well with lipsticks.
Yes.
It's very trendy that
Yes.
you apply one color, you remove it, but the tint that it stays is...
Yes, it's because they use like hydrosoluble colorants. So the colorants only reveal itself when it's in contact with water. So as you have water in your skin or your lips, it will reveal itself. So it will stain you directly, really the skin, because it will color the water inside your skin. That's why it's much more long lasting than applying a pigment. In this case, it's colorant.
And this one is really long lasting, so you better use it without making any mistake, otherwise you have to start again all the makeup routine.
I can close it.
Thank you. Another example of disruptive product, and it's a clear example that you don't need big investments just to have the time, what I was mentioning. Our customers do not have the time to invest in thinking, in having disruptive ideas. This, you see, it's a simple packaging, carton, and then we have two lipsticks. Sorry, the packaging has traveled so much around the world that these simple lipsticks, simple packaging. It's cocoa butter.
Lip balm, yeah.
Lip balm. It's a lip balm. I prefer lip balm.
Yeah.
But you see that you have two lip balms. One has the flavor of mint. The other has the flavor of lemon. One is for men, the other is for women, so that then when they kiss each other, you have here the mojito kiss.
Perfect match. Wow.
The mojito kiss. And at that time, it's quite an old product. It's a pity that they didn't re-edit this one again, because they have different cocktails.
Wow.
They had the margarita kiss, etc. And it's something really cheap. And if you see it on the retail, it's impossible not to buy it.
It's very catchy.
Isn't it? Yeah. And it's cheap, and you think about your brother that will never get married if he does not move around the world, or that friend that it's always, well, you know what I mean. Exactly.
Friend zone.
It's so cute, so funny.
Very interesting.
And finally, another interesting way of disrupting is the packaging. You have a good idea, and the packaging is really very helpful on the beauty industry to innovate. And here we have...
You have a surprise!
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry about the texture, because also this product is 14 years old or something like that. But you see, it looks like blood, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
But it's a bath gel. It's a bath gel, and still smells nice still. So do you imagine something like this as a gift for Halloween, or if you want to scare your husband, you can hang it in the shower and,
exactly.
What's this? And this is, again, another very easy way to innovate. Something to stand out from the crowd, impossible not to buy it. And it's a bath gel that at the same time is very, very cheap.
Yeah.
So you don't need...
It's a very common product.
Exactly. You don't need to make big investments or spend a lot of money in the formulas to be disruptive. Yeah. And now it was, as I was mentioning, it was launched like 13, 14 years ago. But I can imagine now with all the social media, if they ever relaunch it, hi guys, I suggest you to relaunch it. I think it's too cool for school. I can't remember exactly, but if I can imagine
go viral,
now,
like real quick.
In social media, it would be so viral everywhere.
Yes.
So we have seen different ways of innovate here.
Yes.
Wow, very interesting. So I think that, well, with all this information that Anna provides us, from different countries all around the world, I assume that this is something that it helps you to work, right? I mean, you use all this information.
Yes, it gives me good visibility of what's going on now in the world in terms of texture. So I can also sometimes inspire me or blend two concepts and create a new one. And also I can translate what Anna sees in the world to my formulation in the lab, and like that when we can see customers, like our brands, our customers, I can give them already an example of a formulation which is stable and that would fit these trends.
And the best part, using Provital's
and using
products.
our ingredient, of course. So, and for us, it's like really it saves them a lot of time. because they can, of course, change some like a fragrance or the preservative or whatever they want, but it's still already a base where they can work on.
And do you have any example for a formulation that was based on any of these products or on these trends?
Yes, we developed an Hydra Boost.
Be careful. Don't unveil the secret formulas that are on
of
the
course
go.
not. Until next year. But for example, we were inspired from this, the way that we quantify how long the hydration would be or these kind of things. And we thought that hydrofence would be a great option for after sun. And because we can claim this 120 hours of hydration. Yeah. So we developed a kind of sorbet texture and with hydrofence inside, and really also giving this freshness during the application. Because after sun exposure, your skin will enjoy this fresh application, and with this really big data that you can claim also on the packaging. And so we had the color was blue because you associate the freshness with the blue color, and the after sun, I don't know why, but you always expect them to be blue in the sense,
yes.
no? Refreshing. And so we developed a kind of sorbet texture with hydrofence, with after sun. So it was also kind of a cream gel, but going more into a sorbet texture.
And I have to tell that, Laure, it's very much updated, and it's also a source of new things to me. So we cooperate. It's absolutely cooperation.
And you're really like a link between the final product world, right, with the active ingredients per se. How do you think this relationship between actives and final products will evolve in the future? We talked about the past and the present, but how do you see the future for these relationship between the two?
Today, thanks to social listening, we know at the very first second what millions of customers are talking about. What are their needs? This compared to 15 years ago, where when we had to do the focus groups. In the focus, well, you're very young, but at that time with focus groups, you had the opinion of 10 people. And now you have the opinions and the conversations of millions of people. Instant, at the very moment. So this is something that sure will change the way we work. We have to be faster, we have to react faster, but thanks also to the new technologies, to our great R&D team that is developing amazing new things and faster, we will be able to respond to real needs, which is something that, again, many years ago, we didn't know for sure. Okay, we knew that we needed maybe a moisturizer because we hadn't launched a moisturizer for some years, but now we exactly know that consumers are talking not about moisturization, they are talking about the barrier. So we are going to launch a product exactly that mentions the barrier, etc. And this is something that clearly will evolve within the next years.
Now, I think the active ingredients will really drive the conception of the product from the start to the end, because I think that nowadays they are so knowledgeable, the final consumers, that they don't want to be they don't want to buy something which is not relevant or consistent. I mean, they want even a step beyond the natural ingredients and the natural formulation. Now we are talking about biodegradability, we are talking about sustainability, and also they want to have a good relation between the concept which is claimed and the real product itself. Does it really contain what it says? Is the formulation does the formulation fit to the active ingredients which is inside? So really, I think everything will be developed around the active ingredient itself.
So,
even more.
So you would say that the active ingredient is like the most important ingredient in the formulation?
Yes, I would say yes, because nowadays people are looking for a product because it contains these active ingredients.
Yeah.
And I would say like 10 years ago it was because of the brand, basically. We wanted to buy a product from a specific brand we're trusting, or because we like the texture. But now people are looking at the product for the ingredients specifically.
And from your background as a formulator of a consumer, of a cosmetic producer, when you want to formulate a new product, you start with, I want to use this active ingredient, I'm going to build the formula, or how do you create a new formulation?
Yes, I would say the active ingredient inspire you a lot on what would be the texture you want to have, and the other ingredients you are going to pick up for building this formulation. Because, like we have commented, if I have an active ingredient where the main claim is reinforcing the barrier. I want a formulation that will also give the sensation to the final consumer that the skin has been properly moisturized, that they feel that maybe also less itchy or less sensitive. So you can combine different ingredients to build a texture that will give them this feeling. So I think it's really important to relate the texture with the claim we want to have in this ingredient. So yes, definitely.
And we would like to know, what do you think that the future of Provital will be in the next 5 years, for example?
How will Provital impact to that future that you were forecasting now?
In fact, I think that we are already impacting our customers. If you see this is something that we have been doing always. I mean, trying to innovate in anything whenever we launch a new product, but you can see clearly how taking advantage of these new technologies helps us to create these amazing products that always, whenever we present a new product, always our customers expect what's going to do Provital this time, which is going to be the latest technology they are using. The in vitros, for example, we have a great in vitro lab, and our in vitros are always unique, are always amazing. Now with the Shiloxome and the lipidomics for the first time ever in the industry, this is something that today our customers are already expecting. And I think that if we continue using all this biotechnology, all these opportunities, that also working with external partners, which is important, to keep an eye on what's happening in other industries. It's always essential, this cooperation with medical industries, with pharmaceutical industries. I think that we are in the best pathway to continue being one of the favorites of our customers.
I love it.
Yeah, because if the innovation comes from the active ingredients, the pressure is on us.
Yes.
And we'll continue this way.
Yeah, I think Provital has been demonstrating and will continue to demonstrate that we are always backed up by science, technology. We have our StealthSense range. We have biotech product now. And so I think it will continue to go on that path. And definitely it will help our customers also to keep up, because it's a really dynamic market and sometimes it's really difficult to keep up.
Yeah, if I had to summarize this interview somehow, I would say that you help a lot to keep up to the consumer. Yeah, to the customers.
It's a cooperation, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, the Glow Sisters will provide glow to your formula.
Yes.
Wow, I love that. It's a new slogan to your name. Well, I would love to continue explaining so much about this in products and formulations. I love this, but we need to end.
Well, we have a last part, right?
Yeah, we have the final quick questions.
Huh?
You didn't know about this, but we're gonna ask you a few questions that you have to answer, the first thing that comes to your mind.
Super easy questions, don't worry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can be dangerous.
Okay, easy one. What is your favorite active ingredient from Provital and why?
It's not easy at all.
I think I know which
you can start then.
Okay. My favorite is lingostem. So it's an active ingredient based on stem cells. So I really love the stem cells range because I love the storytelling about. For me, it's a step beyond for the sustainability. And I love the fact that it's a kind of prevention and reparation active ingredient. So I like both roles. And it's really important because it will prevent the damage caused by UV radiation and infrared. And I like it because you can incorporate it into different formulations. So you can put it in skincare, sun care, after sun. And so I really like it because you can think about a full range with lingostem for really a prevention against sun damage. And we know how much now we talk about that. So I really love this active ingredient. And it's really easy to work with. Important.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it must be.
Yeah, it's really easy to incorporate it into formulation. Colorless and really, really easy to work with.
Yeah, biotech is always easier, right, for formulations?
Yes.
For me, it's really difficult to choose, but I would say hydrofence. The sourcing, the sustainability of the raw materials, it's a nice storytelling for our customers. the fact that we are the only ones on the industry that can claim this 120 hours of hydration power. It's a super claim that our customers love. And also the fact that we can mention the barrier, the product that creates, helps your own skin to synthesize its own ceramides. It's a super powerful ex vivo test that we have in Hydrofend. So I really enjoy a lot when I have to explain the product, really. And customers, whenever they ask for a sample, most of them are going to use it. You have great storytelling, great results, and moisturizing that it's the minimum value expected in any in any product. Sorry, even makeup.
Yes, even
sun
makeup.
care, skincare.
It's one of my favorites.
But it's hard to choose.
And what is your favorite, Clara?
My favorite. Wow. Well, I think she looks some. I think, yeah, not to be too original because it's the last one and all, but it's so comprehensive. It talks about like so many things and it has a new technology behind it. It's so cool. It's such a cool
Great
ingredient.
product. You're right. Great product.
Yes. And what's your favorite formula? I'm curious.
From the one I've been developing in the past
yes.
years, wow, I've been developing a lot, so let me think about it.
Well, you once told me that you liked the Altiostem one very much.
Yes, the antidote. I like this one a lot because it was a challenge, technical challenge to build a formulation because I wanted to make a formulation without emulsifier. I wanted to have a serum for mature skin, so I wanted to have some lipid phase and have great sensory. I wanted also to have a immediate soft focus, but also with some glow. So it was a kind of technical challenge, so I really loved developing it. But I think I also loved, I really also like the Intimate cleanser that we have made last year, which was like a changing texture. So we know that nowadays changing texture are really popular. So it was a kind of oil gel, and it was associated with a TV series 6 in the City, and you can transform it into milk when applying the water. And also this one was nice to create. But I think I love them. I love them all, right? Kind of, because I spend time with them, so I kind of love them all. But yes, of course, some of them are more disruptive, and so I like to develop them.
Very nice. Well, next question, and I think this is going to be interesting in this case because of your background.
Yeah.
Which is the last cosmetic product that you have bought?
Okay.
In my case, sunscreen for city wear. I'm not going to say the brand. No.
Okay.
Sunscreen for city wear, so different than another sunscreen.
Yeah, because it's a little bit tinted and it's light. It's really light. It allows it absorbs quickly. So for a sunscreen that you're going to use on a daily basis in the city when you go out from home, the characteristics should be really, really specific. Mm-hmm. And if you want to apply a makeup afterwards, it has to absorb quickly. Really, it's a nice product.
Yeah.
What about you?
I also bought a sunscreen recently. This one is for the body, and it's a kind of biphasic product, SPF 50. So I really like, because normally SPF 50, as you have a huge quantity of UV filters, it tends to be greasy, shiny, and so on. And this one is really fresh when you apply it, because you just have to shake it, apply it. It has a very fresh sensory, not greasy at all, not sticky neither, so I like it. And I don't know if I can say the brand.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay. So it's a brand called Vichy, and the product's range is called Capital Soleil, and it's like SPF 50+, and I really like the sensory. And it contains beta-carotene, so it would also give you a kind of tan quickly before you get tanned, really.
Yeah.
So.
But there are many products like that. They were quite innovative when they launched this one, but there are many sunscreens that are biphasic now, like this, and very light. I love that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, next question. What do you look for when buying a cosmetic product?
Well, in my case, I look at the inky, the performance, if it contains active ingredients from Provital. If it contains something from Provital, it's done. Easy. And then something that, as I have aged, I take more in consideration is that the brand aligns with my values. And I will give you a quick example. there was somebody from the industry that was a vaccine denier. I don't know how to say it,
okay, yeah.
during the pandemic. And I decided that I would never buy a product from this brand, the brand that was related to this person. So for me, it's important to buy products from a brand that it's aligned to what I
It's
think.
very important.
For me, I look at the formulation, of course. I look at the formulation
All the details.
Yes, all the details. I spend like 5 minutes, and then all the staff will come to ask me if I need something. But no, I look at the formulation, try to imagine it in my head, what would be the quantitative formulation, and try to see if I can really get the right amount of everything into the formulation, and definitely the texture. If I don't like the texture, the smell, I will not buy it. And then also I really look after how my skin is looking. If I don't know if it fits really well to my skin needs, and
the after effect.
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that you do like a full study
Yes.
to buy something.
I can imagine her in the store for 20 minutes.
Yes. I spend a lot of time. Yes.
Yeah, and with so many options, it's really difficult. Even for us that we know a little bit about the market, it's challenging to choose a product.
It's challenging.
Yes.
Okay, next question. Now we want you to finish the sentence. The best thing about the cosmetic industry is?
Very innovative.
Innovation.
Every day is different.
Yeah. Variety and innovation. Yeah. And the worst? The worst thing about the cosmetics industry?
For me, regulations.
For me, I think we are still an industry that moves a lot of plastic. And I think that we have an important role as an industry to in every part of the chain, no? Not only the raw material suppliers, but also the final brand, to provide solution to try to decrease this amount. It has already started. I mean, we have new materials, we have refill product, but I think I would like to see more of that. That's it.
Yeah.
And in my case, sorry, I understand that there has to be regulations.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, but what do you mean?
Yeah, but sometimes it's like, okay, we are selling cosmetics.
It's a difficult
We're
job.
going too far. It's in some cases, and I know that it has to be some kind of regulations, but maybe
There's
we're
a
going too
limit.
far. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. Who would you like to see here in Provitalks in the future?
Yeah, in my case, I would like to see an owner of an indie brand, a small
Very interesting.
brand. I would like her to be a woman, because still women have more challenges when starting our career, and if it's individually, still more. Because really you have to be very brave in such an environment, such a competitive environment, to create a new brand. How come these women are so brave to create their own brand, and many of them succeed at the end? So I would be interested in talking to.
And I would like to see someone from Provital, from our US team. I would like to see Nina Esposito.
Oh,
Yes,
very
I think
interesting.
it will be a good Provitalk.
For sure.
Because of the market, because of the USA market, or
Because the
of
person
her?
itself. She's quite of a woman.
Yeah. Well, I think that next time she's here in Barcelona visiting us, I think we should try to bring her for a quick interview. Well, quick. She also likes to talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might have many things to talk about. So maybe,
For sure. Good idea.
Good.
Okay. So
We're
we
done.
have done the whole set of questions, and I think this is it.
The Glow Sisters. Well, thank you very much for your time, for staying here with us.
Yes, really, thank you. It's been so fun to know a lot about all that you had to say. But apart from fun, I think you have helped our audience here to understand a bit more the link between the active ingredients and how are they important in formulation, and how do they reach that point, right? So really, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
As always, don't forget, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also you can find all our episodes available on Spotify. See you in the next one.
Thank you for watching and listening to Provitalks. We hope you got some source of inspiration to create your own kind of beauty. If you don't want to miss our next expert interview, subscribe to our channel and don't hesitate to contact us. at weareprovital.com. Provital. Do care.